Injury report, I think getting Kyle back, full participant, as well as Bryce Callahan. That helped us today. Otherwise, nothing new. You did see where we made official the passes physical is all set to go in Dontrell Inman. To make room for that spot, we released Jonathan Anderson, and he's a guy, if he clears, that we'd love to have back. Any questions?
Why didn't Inman practice today?
He got in late. He had pretty in-depth physical. He had time for meeting, met with the coaches, but did not participate in practice.
Just another participation question. Did see Sanchez out there while we were?
He's sick. We sent him home.
Okay.
He had a touch of the flu, and we didn't want it to spread. Yes, he should. Thank you for correcting my PR guy.
You've played coach rather in the Superdome before. Are there any unique challenges, or is it just kind of the same thing of a road trip?
Well, like most domes, it does. Keep in the sound. It gets very loud. I can't imagine it could be any louder than what we played during practice this week, both yesterday and today. We'll continue that tomorrow. I think like anytime going on the road, it's tough. Not a whole lot of people there cheering you on, and you do have to deal with the crowd noise. So it won't be Mitch's first situation with that. I think it'll be his first start at a dome. But I think he's reacted really well and adjusted really well this week to those conditions in practice.
New Orleans has had a lot of success against opposing quarterbacks the last couple of weeks. What have you seen from their defense that's led to that success?
Well, I think they're getting better. I know their coordinator very well. He was my coordinator in Denver, then went as the head coach in our division with Oakland. So Dennis does a good job. I think they got off to a little bit of a rough start, both against Minnesota and then New England. But I think, they've improved, and you see that. So I think that's why their record's improved. They've run off 4 in a row and playing really good football right now, as a football team.
Where has that defense improved?
Just in assignments, guys playing with better eyes, guys being where they're supposed to be. I think, we had some of those same ills to start the season, but we've improved, and so have they.
John, as Vic Fangio's boss, what impresses you most about what he's done with this defense that has made a big difference from last year to this year?
Well, I think, go back even before here. I think guys earn reputations. It's a very small fraternity of people in our league, regardless of what side of the ball you come from. But he's done a terrific job here, and I think he's done a terrific job wherever he's been. So that experience is hard to match. He's been in the league for some time.
With Inman not practicing today, is there any chance he could still play on Sunday?
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned yesterday, I think somebody asked that question as well. He seems like a really bright guy. He's been in the league long enough. He's been in some complex systems, some similar systems. You always have to evaluate that. We'll get a chance to, practice him tomorrow and see what he looks like. All right, thank you.
What did you like about having Roy cover kicks last week, punts specifically?
6'5", 290, runs as well as most linebackers in this league. He's a difficult size and speed matchup. We survey the options when Sherritt goes down, and felt like he would give us as good a chance as any to make a play in certain situations. And that was our starting corner that was up against him, and he kind of tossed him and kept running and got into another guy. And we've had some experience with that. We used Cornelius a little bit like that. And my first year as a coordinator in Carolina, we used Greg Hardy his rookie year like that. So it's not as common around the league as it used to be, but there's guys that we were able to show him tape of and say, here's some of the things we'd like you to be able to do.
The first dome game for Tariq and Freddie. What sort of, can you do anything to get him ready for looking up into that roof? And
Yeah, it's a good question. It's hard to simulate, obviously, in open air. We don't have a tarp to put up, Our indoor is a little bit different in terms of the ceiling than what they'll be seeing. So, we try and do as much as we can in pregame warm-up and get them some looks, and, that's about it.
I was going to say, Eddie, I've played in a couple before. Tariq probably has it,
I haven't even asked him.
What was your diagnosis on the 52-yard field goal attempt?
Yeah, I thought the ball came out a little bit low. I didn't think there was penetration in that gap. The guy who got his hand up, he just got a finger on it. Connor actually hit that ball pretty well, 52 yards, and the guy gets a finger on it, and it still hits the crossbar. From a lecturing standpoint, we felt like we were within his range. Obviously, you'd like to get that up just a little bit more. He's not a guy that usually changes trajectory based off the distances, but certainly there's kicks that come out with better rise or lower rise than others.
As you've seen Ted get in over time, has anything particularly evolved about his game that stands out to you?
No. I mean, he's still fast. He's still good. He's still productive. The one thing that's come up in the last couple of years is he has some more inside returns. He was a young player in this league. He used to catch the ball and usually go to the sideline, and you got to have supreme confidence in your speed, which he should. But he's varied it that way in the last couple of years, and still a good player.
Jeff, what stood out to you about the way DeAndre Houston Carson played on Sunday?
Production. He got into some of those roles that Sherrick was in later on in the game. 3 tackles on special teams isn't real common. He was in on 3. 2 of them were flat hustle plays. The other one, he's in the right spot, but you see people miss open field tackles sometimes. He didn't. I thought he covered really well. He drew a penalty in that game. One of those tackles is inside the 20. That's a highly productive game.
Ian has had some muff issues lately. Is there a coaching point there this week and just the awareness of knowing that is there?
Coaching point to correct it, or a coaching point in terms of our guys?
No, reinforcing for them that there's a chance that there may be some balls.
Well, they were fighting in some tough conditions. He's an experienced returner. I don't anticipate, those kinds of things. The one play was a little bit different. It's a rare play that you see around the league every so often. He had a fair catch situation, and he didn't catch it cleanly. It's a penalty, but it's not an enforced penalty. They basically just award the ball back to the return team because it's kind of still within his cylinder. They changed that rule a couple of years ago, which is a good thing to change. They used to penalize the coverage team for going after it, but again, they've changed that. But we anticipate him, fielding the ball cleanly and trying to be productive.
Is it true that you were Drew Brees' center in high school?
True statement.
What was that like?
At the time, I mean, you're playing center, right? So wasn't all that different. Now he's gone on to have, a heck of a career. Drew's a year younger than me. And this comes up every couple of years we play them, but Jay, my brother, was the starting quarterback on the varsity team. My younger brother was the starting quarterback on JV. Younger bro blew his knee out. Drew was his backup, and obviously took over the job and had a heck of a high school career and college career and pro career. But yeah.
What stood out to you about Drew back in those days?
So we moved to Texas my freshman year, being a year younger. Didn't really have that much interaction with him until he became our quarterback. So kind of overlapped for 2 years. Really good athlete, heck of a baseball player, good teammate, did everything right. There wasn't a whole lot of, repeats in practice because of anything that he was doing. I mean, he was on point. Drew's always been a guy with a chip on his shoulder. Believe he played more flag football growing up, and so we kind of had to make that adjustment into high school sports, and our high school's pretty darn good in football. So once he kind of ascended into that position had a really good junior year, and he blew his knee out at the end of that season. So he had to come back off of that. It's kind of why he wasn't highly recruited coming out, at least initially. And they went on to win the state championship that year. You know, got on at Purdue and played as a young player and kind of went through the same thing in San Diego. So, I mean, he's a really competitive guy and a good person.
So you saw this kind of career coming from him?
In 1995? No.
Any surprise, though, that because of that personality that you've seen that he's put together early?
No, I mean, he's been challenged at every level in his life, and he's responded to the challenge. And, you know, they drafted Rivers behind him in San Diego, and he had a really good season. Unfortunately, you know, he got hurt later on, but he you know, kind of has the same thing in New Orleans, goes there, and he's coming off an injury and, you know, kind of has a second life there. And, you know, he's a surefire Hall of Fame guy.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, who's first?
When the team came here, he kind of had a reputation of a run stuffer more so than a pass rusher. What has he done to improve as a pass rusher?
I think he's just grown as a player, you know, through his experiences. He didn't have a great experience in New Orleans, went up to New England, and for half a season did okay there, but saw potential that this guy could be a good player. And he does a great job getting his body in good shape. He takes care of himself. And he's a big, powerful guy that's learned how to play the game better.
He's talked about just staying at one position, kind of helping his growth. What have you seen from just keeping him at one spot to help him there?
Well, anytime a guy can limit what he has to know, you know, that helps most of them. He really doesn't play one spot. You know, he's a tackle and nickel, an end and base, so that's two spots.
Vic, on the fumble return touchdown by Eddie, what stood out to you about what he did on that play?
One, just running to the ball, scooping it cleanly, and staying in bounds, and then just running fast. But just running to the ball, being opportunistic. You know, Amos and Trevathan contributed to that. They were competing for the ball on the ground, which made it spit out, and he was Johnny on the spot and scooped it, stayed in bounds, and scored.
Seems like the defense has played well all season, but the last 2 weeks maybe taking another step. What do you think the biggest factor that accounts for that is the last couple weeks playing as well as the defense has?
Well, we've gotten takeaways, which we hadn't been getting. You know, that was really the only thing missing for the most part. And once you get them, you know, it helps the entire team. Now, these have been drastic takeaways with 3 touchdowns and another one to the opponent's 20. So they not only were takeaways, but they had major effect on the game.
How do you get Drew Brees to make mistakes and turn them off?
That's hard. You know, he's a veteran quarterback who's been in that offense ever since Sean Payton's been there. He knows the offense as well as Sean Payton. He's a great operator. You know, he dissects defenses, you know, what you're in, what you're not in, as good as anybody. Throws on rhythm a lot. You know, there's a reason why he holds a lot of these records. So, you know, he's a good quarterback.
You mentioned the long returns that you guys have had. What do you teach the other 10 guys to do once that turnover happens? Is it just go hit somebody, or is there something?
No, it's an opportunity to truly get the hidden yards in football. And, you know, we got to particularly get a DB or a linebacker with the ball in their hands. And, you know, Eddie's a punt returner. You know, he's one of our punt returners. So now we have a punt returner against, you know, 5 offensive linemen, a quarterback, and a bunch of guys that aren't usually out there to tackle somebody. So it's an opportunity to get those yards.
How much do you coach that guys transitioning defense to offense? You value that a lot throughout the week? And
Yes. Starting training camp.
When you look at their offense, what do you see in Kamara and what is making them effective in what they do?
Very good all-purpose back. They seem to have a niche for finding them there. They had Bush, they had Sproles, now they got this guy. He's a good runner, too. He's not just a halfback out of the backfield kind of guy. He gets the hands off and runs the ball effectively. He's a good player, and they're playing him more and more, and you can see why. He's multi-purpose, versatile back.
Are the ways you had success against McCaffrey relatable to him? Are they different?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
What do you see from Michael Thomas, how they use him and the type of threat he poses?
Good receiver. You know, got the size, got some speed, catches the ball well. You know, he's a good receiver, and that quarterback makes his receivers even look better.
When the defense kind of turns a corner a little bit like this defense has, how difficult is it to motivate them to take the next step? Does that just come naturally? I don't know if comparisons are fair to the growth in San Francisco, but based on your experience, once they reach one level, how challenging is it to get them to the next?
Well, we approach every week as a new entity. You know, we got a new challenge each and every week. You know, you go in there and explain to the guys the offense you're going against, what they do well, what they like to do, how we got to stop them, and we try and approach every game as a new entity. You know, and that's the message I try and send to them all the time, no matter what. You know, I'm not into this game's more important than that game. Division game's more important than a non-division game. Every game is important, okay? They determine who goes and advances by record. It's not who you win, beat, and lose.
As a coordinator, what are you most proud of as far as what this group has accomplished from the time you got them to right now?
They're a great group to work with. You know, they're very attentive. They're hungry. They want to improve. They want to get better. They accept challenges, and you know, they're in a good mindset. But they were in that same mindset the first few weeks of the season too. You know, you got to experience some success for you all to notice.
Is that now a more fair comparison to the growth that group made in San Francisco?
No, because you know we were pretty good there right from the start.
What stood out to you about the way you guys executed that 4th and 2 quarterback power in the second half of the other game?
You know, we just were. You know, it's a very physical play. He's a big dude. They got a bunch of guys blocking. It's just a matter of the D lineman giving us a strong point at the line of scrimmage. And the guy's able to knock it back to where he can't get a yard, or you know, about a yard and a half, almost 2, to where he can't get it. And that's a testament to the guys up front.
Availability aside, what's been the biggest change for Kyle Fuller from 2015 to now?
I don't know. You know, I have vague memories of 2015, but you know, it's like I told you guys. I've liked where he's been at for a long time this season, and not everybody's starting to take notice. And he's doing well. I think he's having fun playing. I think his confidence is growing.
With Gronkowski clear again, how will you handle the rotation there in the second half?
We'll see. I mean, I like the way we been playing lately, so probably go that way for the most part, but not be afraid to mix him in there.
What have you liked about Christian the last few weeks?
He's just getting better and better. You know, Christian was a guy that played full-time for us in 15. He had never played inside linebacker before. I thought he was getting better at that point, and he's still getting better. You know, so now you're seeing his 3rd year, and last year we moved him back and forth between inside and outside. And it takes time for guys to improve and get the grasp. Inside linebacker, especially when you were a guy in college that played on the line of scrimmage, is a very, very hard transition, and you need patience. And sometimes patience isn't in abundance in this business. And but I felt like he can improve all along, and I still feel like he can improve more. He's not playing perfect, but he's playing damn good.
Look at the Grease and sacked 5 times. What do you see? Is it quick release, good protection?
Both. You know, he gets it out quick. Their line's doing a good job of protecting. He's got really good pocket feel. You know, he'll step one way or the other to avoid pressure. You need good even rush on this guy because he can manipulate the pocket, and he does throw it quick.
How has Christian Jones been in coverage and when looking at somebody like Kamara? What's the challenge for him?
He's been good in coverage. It depends what we're in. You know, if we're in a coverage where a linebacker may have to cover him, it could be him or Trevathan.
What can a game like that do for Eddie Jackson, like coming off of that and just where he's at in his transition?
Well, it could do nothing but help. But Eddie's a very mature rookie, and you know, I think he was confident even prior to those 2 plays. So it can't do anything but help. But it's not like he's somebody that was fragile and needed that.
But even though Fuller's been playing well all year, have you noticed just a greater verve or greater aggressiveness in the last week or so?
Yeah,
it seems like he's building on his success emotionally.
Confidence, you know, he's playing with confidence. He's enjoying the game. Everything kind of snowballs, you know. Things can snowball going downhill. Things can gather momentum in your favor, and I think he's riding momentum, feeling good about himself, playing good, having fun, playing hard. I don't know how many of you noticed how hard he ran on Jackson's interception return to go get a block there, you know. So the guy's having fun, and it's good to see.
Did you know he had that emotional part of his game in him?
You hope so. You know, I just think he needed some success to get it out.
How would you describe the confidence of the whole group? Right? Every week you're facing a Super Bowl winner or first overall pick.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see when we get Eastern Illinois on the schedule or something. But they're feeling good. You know, anytime you play good, you know, it's just like in golf. You know, you make a couple long putts, all of a sudden you think you're a good putter. But our guys are feeling good. I think they felt good all year, but weren't always getting the results. It's nice to get some results.
Any special fondness for you going to New Orleans, considering you started your coaching career there?
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans is the place where I have been the longest. I was there 9 years, so it, you know, kind of feels a little bit more like home to me than other stops along the way because I was there so long.
What do you appreciate about your time there, looking back, and the Dome Patrol group?
Yeah, Dome Patrol. Well, I got spoiled. You know, you're coaching what some people think was the best linebacker group in the history of the game. So I knew from a very early on what good players looked like. And so I'm enthusiastic to have good players. You know, so I know the bar is set high for me at that position. And when we don't reach it, I let everybody know.
You said some people think. Do you think they're the best linebacking core of all time, or do you not get a vote?
I don't get a vote. But yeah, I don't know if they were. I don't know if they were the best, but there was not a group better.
You know, Sean Payton went to Eastern Illinois. You think you take time later to do that?
Oh, well, let's change that college. Let's Lake Forest College. Let's change that. I didn't know. I do know that. I did know that, but wasn't realizing that when I said it. Okay. All right.